Let's start with a very interesting pro-revenge story from To See You Low. Fate helped me get back at my brother. I originally posted this in two parts as it was unfolding on our relationship advice, and a couple people told me to post it here. I didn't know this sub existed, but I'm happy it does. So, my brother, 23M, we're twins, is so mean. He's constantly doing messed up stuff to me. 23F. But the worst thing happened 5 years ago. I got my first boyfriend when I was 18 and a senior in high school. I know we were young, but I really loved him. We'd been dating for 10 months when my brother randomly decided, for literally no reason at all, to make up a story about how he caught me cheating and tell it to my boyfriend. He planned it all out. He came up with details. He made it sound real. And because he's such a scarily good liar and a master manipulator, my boyfriend believed him. No matter what I said or did to prove it wasn't true, he believed my brother over me. My brother kept up with his act the entire time and refused to admit he was lying. At one point, I thought I'd finally gotten my boyfriend to believe me, but then he broke up with me a few months later and confessed it was because he was still convinced I'd cheated on him, and he couldn't move past it. He said, "The worst part is that you won't just tell me the truth, and not to sound dramatic, but that still haunts me. I want to cry every time I think about it." And I still miss him to this day. Also, I think it's important to note that my brother has never once apologized. He's so insanely mean that he just thinks it's funny. I even asked him once if he'd consider hitting my ex up and telling him the truth for my peace of mind, and he just laughed at me. I never got over what my brother did, and I always told myself I was going to do the exact same thing to him one day. He's dated several girls since high school, but he'd never been serious enough about any of them for me to consider tricking them. I knew it wouldn't hurt him like he hurt me if I just tricked one of his flings or something. But he finally got his first serious girlfriend last year, and after thinking about it for a long time, I decided I was going to do it. We live in different places now, so I had to do it all online. I used a different method than he did. I contacted his girlfriend pretending to be the girl he'd been cheating with. I made up an elaborate, detailed story like he did to me, and even photoshopped proof and stuff. I made my story even more believable than he made his. And exactly like he did to me, I went as far as denying it even to him, because I knew he might use my text-dodge calls to prove to his girlfriend that it isn't true. He knew I was behind it, though, solely because the girl I made up doesn't exist, and there's no one else that would do this. But I kept denying it. His girlfriend wholeheartedly believed me, and my brother kept calling and texting me and begging me to give it up, even though I still wouldn't admit it was me. He was manipulating me and arguing that it's different because I was younger when he did it to me, and my relationship wasn't serious. But my relationship was serious, and like I said, I still miss my ex. My brother really messed me up. I have empathy, though. He doesn't. And I was starting to feel bad for his girlfriend because she's innocent. I was kind of regretting everything and thinking that maybe I should tell his girlfriend the truth, for her sake, not his. But then, his girlfriend asked me a question, which led to her admitting that she's been suspicious of him for a long time. So I pried a little bit and encouraged her to look through his phone. She told me she couldn't because she didn't know the passcode and he wouldn't give her access to it. I guessed a few passcodes I thought it could be, and gave them to her under the guise of seeing it once, but not being sure which one I'd seen. That was kind of dumb, but I couldn't think of anything else to say, and she didn't question it. She got in because it ended up being the same one he's had since 2012, when our dad got us iPhones and made us use the same passcode. Idiot. Anyway, lo and behold, it turns out my brother actually cheated on her, and my setup was the reason she found out. He's been talking to and hooking up with multiple girls for pretty much the entirety of their relationship. I'm not surprised, because he's a terrible person, and cheating seems right up his alley, but I'm shocked at the same time. I literally can't believe things worked out this perfectly. It feels like a dream or something. The universe loves me. I hate to revel in his girlfriend's misery, but I was feeling guilty about her being collateral damage, so I feel like this is the best possible outcome. My lie ended up being the truth. Well, not exactly, but you know what I mean. So I didn't scar his GF or leave her with permanent damage for no reason. All my interference did was speed up the process of the truth coming to light. In fact, my brother may have been able to hide his cheating forever, if not for me. He probably would have just manipulated his GF and/or refused to give her phone access forever. She hasn't broken up with him, and I'm honestly not sure if she will. IDK, how relevant that is, but it attests to how manipulative he is. He screws people over all the time, but somehow always gets his way anyway. It's honestly infuriating and scary. Anyway, I'm still not going to admit to my brother that I'm behind it all because there's no point. That would just get me in deeper trouble. I got a comment on my original post that said, "Deny till you die, baby." And that's exactly what I'm planning on doing, LOL. Life's crazy. The revenge was really crazy and mind-blowing, and OP executed it was perfect, and hit his brother where it hurts the most. His brother faced the consequences he deserved. It was really satisfying and cool. The best part of the revenge is the OP brother got his relationship for the cheating he never did. Really mind-blowing. The next interesting pro-revenge story is from disgruntled_tofu. Malicious compliance thought this belonged here, and a power-tripping mod over there decided to remove the original post after breaking his own commenting rules and getting called out. A recent story reminded me of this act of malicious compliance by a family member. This family member's spouse was involved in an accident that left them critically injured. They were in ICU for months and would face permanent disability upon returning home. They didn't want to leave their home. It was close to the best hospital in the region, and it was their forever home. So plans began to renovate it for accessibility. In addition to the renovations, a wheelchair van was going to be needed, along with other medical equipment for home use. As she worked on all of this, it was clear that large expenditures were going to be needed, and it was going to take time to draw money out of long-term savings and retirement accounts. So she called the credit card companies to get their limit increased. Sadly, before the renovations were complete, her spouse passed away after almost 6 months of hospitalization and therapy. Now attention turned to final arrangements. The couple had always been very frugal and maintained nearly perfect credit. All cards were being paid on time, and despite carrying a balance on some cards from the construction, demolition had already started, so renovations had to continue, but at a slower pace. Money was now coming in from those long-term savings. The problem is one major credit card company refused to work with her. She tried to access the account and was told, "Sorry, I have to speak the account holder." She explained that her spouse had passed away and she was wanting to pay what was left on the card. She also explained that she was an account holder. Evil Bank stated that she was not on the account. She was a mere card holder and she had no rights to the account. The person on the phone explained that her husband opened the account without her and just gave her the card. She just didn't understand how credit cards worked. This was a lie. The couple had always been joint account holders on everything since they were first married for exactly this reason. They had done extensive estate planning and made sure that all their assets were protected in trusts should the worst occur. They knew their kids would be cared for, and their partner would be able to access everything. Also, she ran the couple's business for over a decade, navigating a sea of regulations, insurance company billing, and payroll, finances, taxes. Needless to say, she did not enjoy being condescended to. Unfortunately, Evil Bank would not budge. They would not allow any access to the account for any reason, but for some reason, they didn't cancel the card after finding out the sole account holder had passed away. This back and forth went on for weeks with multiple calls to the Evil Bank and trying to escalate the issue to supervisors to address the state of the account. In a final attempt to show Evil Bank that they were hurting themselves by this, "So I'm unable to access any part of the account, even to make a payment?" Evil Bank. "That's right." "So the account is going to be closed?" Evil Bank. "No, only the account holder can do that." "Even though the account holder is dead?" Evil Bank. "Only the account holder, ma'am." So, what does that mean for cardholders and being able to charge on the account? Evil bank. Only the account holder can deactivate a card or modify the account. So, what happens if a cardholder uses their card? Evil bank. They can continue to use the card until the account holder tells us otherwise. The deceased account holder. Evil bank. Yes, I can't help you with anything else. You need to put the account holder on the phone if you want to change anything or make a payment. No, that's fine. She broke down crying immediately after, but decided that they set the rules so she would play by them. All the final expenses, medical bills, and as much construction cost as possible was put onto that credit card. She maxed it out and then let it sit until the credit card company started calling for payment. I'm sorry, per your policy. I'm just the card holder and I'm not responsible for any balance. Ma'am, this balance needs to be paid or it will affect your credit. It better not, I'm not on the account. This is an illegal collections call and I will be reporting it to the FTC and the Attorneys General in your home state and mine. I still have his number on speed dial. You can make your case to the court. She was used to getting medical insurance companies to pay claims for the last decade or so. You didn't want to play hardball with her. Remember how all the assets were in trusts? On paper, her partner had no assets to place a lien on. All the cash in the joint checking account had been used to pay expenses for the last several months, and withdrawals from long-term savings were sent to her account, not the joint account. They had agreed to move all exposed assets shortly after her partner regained consciousness, fearing the worst. Plus, all the income from the business had been brought home in her name for more than a decade, so she would actually get some kind of social security payment when she got older. So not only did his estate have no assets to go after, he didn't have an income for the last decade. Evil Bank was left with a maxed out credit card and no assets in the estate they could file against for payment. The handful of other credit cards companies worked with her to raise limits temporarily or remove daily spending caps for large expenditures. And they were all paid without a single missed, late, or partial payment. Evil Bank had to eat a 5-figure loss, all because they decided that the wife didn't deserve to be on the account from day one. She had every intention to pay every bill and expense. She has never been one to try to scam or cheat someone. She gave Evil Bank every chance to accept money for the bill. They repeatedly refused to acknowledge her as a spouse or executor. But she sure liked the irony of the only company that refused to acknowledge the death of her spouse ended up paying for the funeral expenses. It was a huge blow for the Evil Bank. OP faced the Evil Bank with intelligence and showing a lot of resilience and finally hit with a heavy blow, causing the bank a huge loss. The revenge was really satisfying and cool. The next story is from Cinderella Cookie. I recorded a co-worker loving himself at work for eating my chocolate. Please, respectfully correct me if you see typos or anything because English is not my first language and I want to get better at it. Also, this is my first post here. Before you get to that part, I need to clarify that yes, I have a video, but I would never post it or anything because I would get in trouble for it, and because it's a ridiculous story, it's up to you to believe it or not. Let's name everyone involved in this. John, my boyfriend, the designer. Jenny, me, I did mostly video. Sarah, another co-worker. She was the best photographer there. Mario. To say that he was useless is an understatement. The reason why I'm writing this. Donna, the director's assistant. Amy, the accountant. Years ago, I worked in a government institution where I live. It wasn't a good job. It was basically volunteer paid work that was an excuse to not give employees any security a real job would offer, but I accepted because I needed the money and I had just finished college. I used to work in the communication department with other 4 co-workers. One of them was my boyfriend, still together to this day, and the youngest one, Mario, was a guy who was still in high school and got his girlfriend pregnant. His mum worked in other government institution, and she got him that job. That's one of the reasons the boss couldn't fire him. We had to make designs, take pictures, do video, post on social media, check on the press when they wanted an interview with one of our bosses, and many, many other things. Mario was supposed to know some about photography and design because he told us that's what he was studying at school. But we knew later that he didn't attend school often, so he was very, very bad at almost everything. And we tried to show him how to do his work, but he was really stubborn and lazy. He never learned completely how to do the basic work. He always had problems with many people. Not with us at the beginning because he acted polite. That changed later. He was disrespectful when taking pictures. He was late almost every day, and he used to post in social media about government and fight to other people who didn't agree with him. Sarah and John would talk to him about how working in a government institution, you couldn't do that, it's simply not okay. However, he never changed and told his mum we were against him. Mario went to work around 2 to 4 hours a day. Usually, John and Sarah would be the only ones to see him because they worked more hours than the rest of us, but he would stay in the office around 1 or 2 hours alone, or they would send him to take pictures for the same time. One day, he had to take pictures of some event practice. Everyone else was off the clock, it wasn't a big event, and he had been working there around a year by that time, so we thought that he could go by himself. The accountant had to go there and decided to take him with her and one co-worker of hers in her car. He was late again, and that's why he couldn't go in one of the work cars. The accountant left her purse open in that space that's in the middle of the driver and the co-driver's seats. When they went back to the office, she noticed her wallet disappeared. She instantly knew that had to be Mario, the one who took it. They began to search him and our office and found nothing. Somebody found the wallet under the vending machine. At first, we took his side because they admitted that never found anything, and because it wasn't right to search in our office without anybody else there, mostly because we had photography equipment that wasn't exactly cheap. However, when we knew how the wallet was found, and when we talked to him, we knew it was him. More money and stuff disappeared when he was there, but nobody could prove he took them. The bosses didn't want to create a scandal, so they let it happen. Our office used to be the conference room, so it was attached to the kitchen, and the director had beverages there for visits. We could use the kitchen but not touch those beverages, but Mario couldn't even get in there. Anyway, the sodas began to disappear, and the director's assistant complained to us. We said we didn't take them, and she wouldn't believe us. One day, John noticed that our door to the kitchen was broken and that you could take the lock easily. With a pencil, we used to find pencils without tips, he took it inside the mechanism, and then the door opened. It took its time, but he proved that Mario was getting in the kitchen when nobody else was there. However, that didn't make a difference, and nothing was done, not even talking to him. One day, John and me were on our way to work, but I didn't have breakfast, so we stopped at a store. I bought something to eat and a chocolate. I put it inside the fridge and forgot about it. The next day, I remembered about it and went to check. It wasn't there and I got mad. John and I checked the trash can. It was clean and empty and we just watched. And we found just little pieces of that chocolate. So we asked for a video camera that someone offered us before. It could record for long hours. I want to clarify at this point that we didn't take the decision of everything you are about to read just because of a chocolate. The chocolate was the last straw. For like a year, we had to put up with our bosses scolding us because of him. He never wanted to learn how to do his job, and things were always disappearing, including personal things. The first day, Donna left money in one of her drawers and left it slightly open so he could see the money. We put the camera in other building that was in front of ours. We had big windows, floor to ceiling, and you could watch Donna's desk in the hallway, some lady's office, our door, and the director's office. The other building just had empty offices then, but had big curtains. That's why Mario couldn't see the camera. We went home that day and left the camera recording. The next day, there was the money, maybe because we left one billet equivalent to $5, and he knew we would know he took it. I checked the camera and watched him getting in the lady's office. I don't know what she did there. And he took some cookies from her office. But he looked suspicious. Again, with this we couldn't do much, so that night John found an old cell phone that could record for 2 hours. The next day, Donna left the $5 again, but now she left $1 bills and the same drawer slightly open. We placed the camera in the other building, and John disguised his old cell phone with a binder and some sticky tape. That day, he got a loan for a little less than 2 hours and left. John and me had a car, so we were in mall close there, just killing time, and then we went back. For the cell phone. OMG! John watched a little bit of the video before the battery died. He said he saw something weird but wasn't sure because the screen was very damaged, and we were in the car. I was driving. When we got in John's house, we could watch everything he had done inside our office. Not the other camera because the building was closed and we didn't have access to it until the next day. First, we saw him getting in the office, watching some YouTube, everything normal. Then he went out, and when he came back, we saw him putting something in his pocket, but it wasn't clear what. Then we saw how easily he took a pencil, opened the kitchen's door, and took something like a yogurt. Then he closed the door. Though we could hear that he was watching something like a channel that's very famous in our country. But then we heard noises, yeah, that kind of noises. We were supposed to have blocked that kind of videos and websites. I mean, those were government offices and the IT team had checked recently everything. But some way he was watching porn on the computer I used to work. And if you are thinking, if he did what you are thinking, the answer is yes. Thanks God the cell phone didn't record his hands, but you could see his shoulder moving and him licking his finger. I know, very disgusting. Well, he ended and didn't even wash his hands. I was so shocked and disgusted when I saw that I wanted to cry. The next day, the first thing I did was to call the IT department to clean the computer. We didn't say why, because of obvious reasons. John took the camera, and we could watch him when he went out of the office and checked carefully if somebody was around. Then he went to Donna's desk and took $1. He went inside the woman's office and took something, but we couldn't see what. Then he went into our office. We called Donna to our office, and she was shocked. Then Sarah watched the video as soon as she got there. Then the director arrived, and we asked him and Amy to go to our office. We showed them the video. The director was very young and trusted us a lot, so he didn't hold his laughter when the self-love pat began. Amy was a young and delicate woman, so she just turned around and covered her eyes while letting a small scream out. We finally get the proof needed to fire him. When he got to work, they didn't let him in. I don't know how the conversations went, but I know some of the words exchanged. Amy, you stole again, and we told you, and last time we told you it was your last chance. Mario, raising his voice, I didn't do anything. You're always blaming me. Amy, we have proof. Mario, you don't have anything. All of you hate me. Amy, don't make me show you. Mario, well, show me. Amy called our office. John, could you bring the videos? John, the first one, the video camera one, or the second, the cell phone one? Amy, the second one. When he heard that he was defeated and very nervous, John took his time downloading the video into his computer because it was in mine and went to the office Amy was talking to Mario. John told me he was about to show him the video and then he asked Mario, John, Mario, do you really want to watch this video? Mario, he couldn't even watch John in the eyes. No, I don't want. Amy, play at least the first video for him. John, I don't have that one. Let me go for it. I admit that I just wanted to see Mario's face, so I went to that office to give them an USB, but he didn't really watch me. Amy, to John and me, okay, thank you. That's going to be all. And we left the office. We know she said something like, Amy, after playing the video, you always said it was us and even told your mom that we wanted to get you in trouble all the time. You even told really bad things about this place. You are fired, and we don't ever want to hear about you complaining to anybody else in the Central, or we're going to show these 2 videos to your mom. And he just left. Then we heard that he actually told lies to her mom like, Mario. They hated me and told lies to make them fire me. But no one ever told his mom. Not that I know. Well, this story made me realize that someone could be recording me anywhere I go. I mean, even I did it to someone. The revenge was truly masterclass. Jenny and John navigated a difficult situation with clever strategy and patience, culminating in the perfect exposure of Mario's wrongdoings. Their meticulous planning transformed a frustrating scenario into satisfying revenge, ensuring he faced the consequences he deserved.